what I'm personally seeing in our office, kind of our lower end stuff has really been selling, and our higher end stuff has really been selling. That middle ground, and I think those are the people that maybe are a little more affected by the interest rate. To me, that is the range that's kind of slowed. This and this has just been kind of business as usual.
Yeah.
So again, you help somebody out with the interest rate a little bit, and I think we'll get that center ground moving.
So welcome to another episode of Discover Seguin. My name is Melissa Elizondo. This episode is sponsored by Bernard Donegan Insurance. And one of our viewers asked us specifically to talk about the real estate market in Seguin. And I knew some people. So today I have my guest, Heath Anders with Anders Pierce Realty. So Heath, before we get started, I want the viewers to know that you have some credibility around this topic. So tell me, how long you lived in Seguin and how long have you been in real estate?
I've lived here for almost 50 years. I've been in real estate for 20 years. Graduated from Seguin High School. Graduated from Texas Lutheran University. I've raised my family here. I've built my business here.
I love that. So let's get right into it. So what trends are you seeing right now in the Seguin real estate market?
Okay, as far as the market itself, this past year, I would say the real estate market has been slower than the previous year, obviously. I would say a trend that we all kind of gravitated to from the beginning was due to the higher interest rates, we've seen more and more sellers contributing, helping buyers with closing costs, that sort of thing. We saw the home builders doing that first, so then we kind of educated our clients, our sellers on that to kind of alleviate some of the pains of the higher interest rate.
Oh, yeah. So are the interest rates still high right now? Or like where are they at today?
They're pushing
December?
7%. I was at breakfast with someone this morning and said that's nothing. Their first house they were paying 12, 15%. So, depending what generation you're in, you may think it's really high, or some people say, hey, it's not that bad. So again, you just learn to deal with it. Maybe as opposed to lowering prices, we're trying to get our sellers to offer some concessions to that buyer so they can buy that rate down a little bit and still afford that house.
So how is the growth of Seguin really affecting the market right now? Because, we just interviewed the EDC a few episodes ago, and they were saying how our population currently in Seguin is 38,000, and they have 17,000 units, permits pulled for. I assume that means apartments too. He didn't clarify. So I assume there's a lot of new stuff going up.
There's a lot of new builds. I think we've seen the builders slow down just a tad over the past year. But as you just mentioned, there's a lot of subdivisions platted, ready to go. Most of the growth that we've seen has been on the north side of Seguin, kind of up that Highway 46 corridor. You're seeing it up the 123 corridor now. We do have a few larger neighborhoods on the south side of Seguin, and we've got a new one on the east side of Seguin. So it is kind of nice to see that balance, but I think overall, a lot of it's new profiles in Seguin is kind of growing together if you have or have not noticed.
Yeah, overspill.
The 46 there's no open land anymore, really.
Yeah, and there's about to not be on 123 either.
Yeah, 123, as you know, that's...
Yeah, I live over there now, and I can see the sunrise and the sunset, and I really appreciate the fact that there's no houses there, but there will be eventually, so I'm trying to...
It's amazing how that corridor is growing, too. So the growth has been all over town, but again, predominantly over the last couple of years, it's been growing north.
Plus, you are going to get your Seguin crossing, I believe is what it's called, where Hobby Lobby.
Oh, yeah.
And all that's on the north side, too. So that's going to accommodate all those new people.
And then if you drive 725, you'll see that's doing the same thing. We personally have one under contract, a big plot of land right across from where the new elementary school is going. Seguin's building a new school on 725, and there's a lot of land changing hands now in that area. So I think it's going to be one of those build it and they will come kind of thing. So it's, if you drive back and forth between New Braunfels and Seguin every day like I do, it's harder and harder to get back and forth at the moment.
Yeah.
Just because of traffic.
I know, and it's not even that far.
It's
but
not that far.
Yeah. When I first moved to New Braunfels 22 years ago, I could get anywhere in town in 8 minutes. And today it's like 30-something minutes, which is just as far for me to drive here. So I moved here because I was just tired of that commute. But everything takes a while.
It definitely does. But hey, it's good. It's good for us. It's good for our business. It's good for the industry. And it's neat to finally see it happening. For years and years, I always told people, Seguin is right there. We're right there. We're right there. We're almost there. And now you're starting to see it blow up.
Yeah, I heard back when I was still in real estate, I heard the EDC talk. It was pre the loop going in, before the loop went into Austin.
Okay.
And I felt like Seguin just didn't ever grow up before that point. Am I right? Am I wrong? Do you know?
It was slow to grow. We did not have a lot of the tract home builders in town, which was interesting when the market kind of got soft. Seguin didn't, because we didn't have all that inventory that San Antonio had and Austin had, and even New Braunfels had some of that. We did not have it here. Now you're seeing some inventory. So, now you've got choices. Whereas before, we had people come from all over the country thinking they were going to get a really sweet deal in Seguin because you could in other larger markets. It wasn't happening here because we did not have any inventory on the ground. So it's worked, it's worked for us.
So speaking of inventory, who are the new build companies that are here now? Like, who's building on the ground now?
I mean, I think almost everybody. Perry, D.R. Horton, Lennar. We've got some smaller builders like Bandit Homes building some kind of inner lots, in-town lots, and then a few that they've picked up other places. So, you've got TKG, which I think is now kind of transitioning more to custom, but we've got quite a few.
I think also the theme here in Seguin is you can still buy land.
Compared to other areas.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I see a lot more land listed for sale than anything.
It's still affordable. Obviously, to the people that have been here forever, it doesn't seem affordable, but compared to, trying to develop something in New Braunfels or go towards Austin or even Lockhart or San Antonio, our land is still affordable.
Yeah. Does it go quickly if it goes on the market here?
Yes. We've sold a number of larger tracts. I'm trying to think in the last year. I mean, it's like anything. If it's priced right, yeah, it does. But yeah, comparative to our surrounding areas, it is affordable, and we're seeing more and more, and I've personally seen more and more investors looking to buy buildings in town and commercial stuff in town that I didn't have 5-10 years ago. I had those relationships with those people 5 or 10 years ago. But now all of a sudden they're calling, hey Heath, can you find that? Because they've been priced out of New Braunfels, they've been priced out of Luling, they've been priced out of Lockhart, or maybe not priced out, but they've invested in those areas, and
they can't get the same
They can't get the same, so they're coming. So that's been kind of neat to see.
I've actually sent some stuff to some of my investor friends as well, because this would be considered a tertiary market, but there's certain KPIs that they're looking for before they invest in a market this small, which would be the growth numbers. Yeah. And so because
they see the
throwing it out of their then they're like, oh, and they see the commercial retail coming in. There's just some factors that they say, okay, I need to go there.
The big box stores, I mean, obviously it's all based on numbers, but it is neat to see local investors from right up the road that are finally saying, hey, I'm going to buy something there. Hey, let's do it.
Yeah, I have a friend in New Braunfels who's building some storage units here too, so I'm excited for him. So what's the market price? We talk about affordable, obviously. That is, like you said earlier, how you feel about that will depend on how long you've been around, right?
Oh, yeah.
But what is the average price point right now for homes in Seguin? Oh, wow. Let's just say for a typical family.
I'm going to probably the mid threes, upper threes, fours.
Yeah.
What's been interesting over the past 12 months is what I'm personally seeing in our office kind of our lower end stuff has really been selling, and our higher end stuff has really been selling. That middle ground, and I think those are the people that maybe are a little more affected by the interest rate. To me, that is the range that's kind of slowed. This and this has just been kind of business as usual.
Yeah.
So again, you help somebody out with the interest rate a little bit, and I think we'll get that center ground moving.
Okay, so tell someone who is thinking of moving to Seguin why this would be a great choice, in your opinion.
Well, location, we were with a new doctor the other day, and the proximity to Austin Airport, the proximity to San Antonio Airport, it gave them options. For me, it's the small town feel of it. It's the community. And I've been here a long time, but the ability to, if I walk into a business, a restaurant, bar, a bookstore, I know people. And to me, that's what's kept me here. Tess and I have had opportunities to move all over the place because of her work in the past. And we always decided against it. And as I've spent more time here, and unfortunately, as I've gotten older, I'm more involved. I'm, on different boards and involved with the city on some stuff, and involved at Texas Lutheran. And it's just that community to me. That's what it's about. It's a little slower pace than, I'm going to compare us to New Braunfels again, but it's slower paced compared to New Braunfels. It's easier to move around. It's not as congested yet. We're growing. There's still things that we want and need, but I don't know. I just think it's a good spot.
And I think we have room to grow for a while. Having been in New Braunfels for 22 years, and it was as small as Seguin is today, until they ran out of land, like it still felt like small town,
Right.
Charm to me. And this is moving here and discovering Seguin for myself, because that's what I'm doing, is discovering all the places I love to go, and finding my coffee shop, and finding my bookshop, and finding my little places I like to go and visit. By the way, we have the best library. I went there this weekend. That place is amazing.
Blows people away. They do not expect it.
I know.
And when they go visit it, and then they come back, and my wife sends people down there all the time from out of town, and then they walk back up to her shop and go, "Wow, you weren't lying." Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And I think our city, you're talking about growth. I think the city of Seguin has done a good job. We've been expanding our parks. We've expanded the walking trail. The library is a big part of that. There's a lot of street work going on. There's a lot of sewer and water line utility work going on. And I mean, it looks disruptive at the moment, but it's for the growth. It's for the future. So I think they're trying to stay in step with it. So,
another thing I love about small towns like this is all the little festivals. They have little festivals.
you
all the
can go
time.
downtown almost any weekend and
there's
do something. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really not. I don't think you're going to be bored here. And you can still get your groceries delivered, so that's good.
You could probably get anything delivered.
Yeah.
But no, it's just a good spot. It's a great location. Again, for me, it's the tightness of the community is what it is.
Yeah.
Personally.
So tell me, let's talk specifically to buyers first. Somebody wanting to move here and buy a house. What's like the number one advice that you give them when they're coming here? They call you up and, hey, I want to move to Seguin. As a real estate broker, what advice do you give them? What steps do you tell them to take?
Well, on we deal with some new recruits from some of the different companies. Honestly, the first meeting is just we drive them around. We take them here, we take them there. We just kind of get them used to the area and show them around town, really. What I always offer is if they have kids, if you want to know about the school, I'll take you to that school. I'll get you over to the school district you're going to be in. I'll introduce you to someone. If you're bringing a business, I'll introduce them to Josh. I'll introduce them to Steve Parker. It's as an agent, it's about just making those connections for those people. There's nothing magical that I'm going to do other than introduce them to the people that are going to be important to them, and then take them to the library.
Yeah, to your kids.
Take them to those spots. But
Yeah.
it's really just um,
I will say that's
It's just a
probably
tour
the
guide,
biggest
really.
thing that a lot of people don't realize is when somebody's moving here from out of town and they know nobody and their real estate agent is their real first point of contact,
Yeah.
introducing, like you just said, is probably key for them, and they'll contact you for years. You know,
Yeah.
do you know a plumber? Do you know a landscaper? Do you know what church
I've got
churches are there?
a
Yeah.
number like that a very bizarre request the other day from one, but I'm gonna help them try to figure it out.
Yeah. I love that. So let's talk specifically to sellers,
Okay.
because a lot of times and this is something I've understood and I could be wrong, but they bought their house for a certain interest rate, right?
Right.
And now they need to sell it. And a lot of times this interest rate's higher. So what are they doing to move? Obviously you have inventory. That's perfect,
Right.
So what advice are you giving sellers in this market?
What I told a lady the other day, and just because she called, she was needing some help. First, let's price the house properly. Let's really do our research. Let's see what the market is telling us as far as that goes. Let's get someone in there and stage that house. Let's get it ready for photos, get it ready for video. Let's do the best presentation we can, and then have that conversation about, hey, interest rates are kind of here right now. It might be a little bit tight, but instead of pricing your house here, let's price it where it ought to be, but then let's offer this incentive to a buyer if they need it. Not all buyers need it. I mean, there's still a lot of cash buyers out there and buyers that don't need it, but play around with those numbers and offer something up front to help them buy that interest rate from, if you can help them buy it from 6.5 to 5.5 or even down to 5, that's huge on a payment. And it's just kind of a give and take way to look at it. But we've really over the last year tried to educate our sellers on that hey, the more and more people are asking for this because they don't want the 6.5% or 7%. They really want it to be down here. So, and it costs, you can buy it down. So that's the good news, you know.
Yeah. So on that same topic of sellers, my understanding, and having been a little bit in the real estate world, there was this mindset because of COVID, because of prices getting jacked up way high.
Really inflated. Yep.
Yeah, really inflated. And so have sellers started to come to reality that isn't the market anymore? Are you starting to educate them? Like, where are they mindset-wise?
Sure. I would say most are. Again, as an agent, if you really do your homework, you provide a really good CMA to that client. Here's the facts. Here's the reality today. Yeah, you may have paid $50,000 over ask because you had to several years ago. That's not the case today. I mean, like I said earlier, we've got inventory now. We didn't have inventory back then. We have plenty of inventory now. So buyers have options. So it's just about setting that expectation, being realistic. If I come in with the CMA that says, hey, I think I can sell your house for $400, and you tell me, hey, Heath, I want $525, we're not gonna get there,
Yeah.
So we've got to just come to.
And I don't think they realize that in most cases the house has to appraise for whatever you sell it for, right? And when an appraiser is looking at your house, they're looking at the last 3 houses that sold recently.
6 months if they can, if they have to, 12 months. So they're not getting those comps.
They're not even getting the comps from a couple years ago, yeah. And if your neighbor sells their house for a lowball number, that affects your price too. Yeah, and it'll affect the whole neighborhood. Yeah. But if you get to sell for top dollar, you're welcome, neighbors.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
No, it's true. And to go back when things, during COVID, when things were so inflated, that was tough for an agent because you knew they weren't going to get it if they offered full price. But as an agent, I never wanted to tell someone, go 25,000 over, go 50,000 over. We had clients 150, 200,000 over on some of these higher end homes. And that's the last thing you want to do as an agent is it was hard. It was not a fun time for agents. And I think people thought it was, but it was not.
Harder.
It was harder because,
You're off.
the
doing a lot.
market's going to adjust. And I don't ever want that client to come back and go, well, I paid 100 over, so I expect to get this today, when now the market has changed. So
Yeah, the disappointment, man. Like, you showed them 50 million houses, made an offer on half of them,
yeah.
and you're not getting any of them.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
but it's just about setting expectations. It's about being straightforward with that seller, being honest, being upfront. Here's what we can do.
Yeah.
And
One of my favorite sayings from Buffini is when he does training for agents, he say to the seller, Mr. Seller, I would rather you be disappointed today than 6 months from now when your house doesn't sell.
that's a good one.
Yeah,
That's good.
literally. So last question, unless you want to add any more about real estate. I want to talk more about Seguin again.
Okay.
So your wife, Tess, owns Pecantown Books and Brews, and we're actually going to do her episode in a couple of days.
Cool.
So that should be coming out shortly after yours. But other than your wife's bookshop, which deli, coffee shop, like, it's everything, what are your favorite places? Where are your favorite places to go in Seguin? Top of your head.
Wow. It's funny. I am part of a breakfast club of other guys, other men, and we meet every day of the week at a different spot. So I've got a number of places, but it's kind of cool. But that's also part of the community part of it. That's the part of I don't know. It's something funny we do every week.
So if I could go film an on-site, where would you recommend?
Or you know what? Probably one of my favorite places to hang out in the country is probably BS Brewery.
Okay.
If you've never been out there,
Not-
it is. You kind of get lost on the way out there. It's very low key, but it's some really good beer. It's just a neat group of people. Very laid back, but it's a cool spot.
Yeah.
It's
Awesome. I'm going to reach out. I'm going to tell them you said. I want to see if I can go out there and do that.
And Carson, they would love to have you out there.
Yeah, I love that. All right. Well, thanks for being on the show. We really appreciate your wisdom on the real estate market. And if they need to get a hold of you for real estate services, how can they reach y'all?
They can reach us, Andrews Pierce Realty. Look us up, give us a buzz, and we'll get somebody out to help them out.
Awesome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.